Hello, it is I, Checkers, and I am wearing a v-neck to show off my extremely attractive collarbone. Well, anyway, all of that aside, it appears I have some explaining to do. Actually, in fact, to be honest, if I had not sent Juggernaut a message over Facebook, he would have probably thinking by now that I had probably got abducted by pandas with freakishly long nails and raped pretty hard in China, because pandas are Chinese. But anyway, I have some explaining to do because I've not been on Xbox Live or been making videos lately, so I'm just going to explain the reason for that. So pretty much, I have to go to this terrible place like 5 out of 7 days of the week. This terrible place is known as high school. And I have to go there about 7 hours out of the 5 days of the week that I do go to high school. And if you don't know what high school is, it's this place where me, along with fellow students, go to these things called classes. And in classes, me and my fellow students get taught things. The only thing is, sometimes these things are useless information. Now you can argue with me and say, oh, we use math in your everyday life and blah blah blah. No. Okay? I've never ever had to solve a linear equation in my everyday life. So no, that is a useless skill in what I want to do. So, besides school, I also was forced to play a school sport. And you're gonna say, how were you forced to play a school sport? Well, pretty much first semester, of my freshman year, first semester, I came in on the first day of school, go to marching band because I needed a PE credit. I thought it'd be better than regular PE. Well, turns out marching band had already been practicing for about a month. So the teacher pretty much just gave me this book. He's like, here, fill this out, just go in the corner and do whatever you want to do. Fill out this book, give it to me at the end of the semester. So I fill out the book, and I don't get credit for anything. So pretty much I need a PE credit, so I had to play a school sport. So pretty much since most school sports just pretty much depend on physical ability and seeing who can pump the most steroids into your arm, I decided to play one of the only school sports that isn't nothing but pure athletic ability. So I had to play tennis. So while Juggernaut is playing Xbox, I am out sweating, hitting a ball with a racket. And then the third reason, recently I've just been getting into real bands. Well, you're going to say, what's a real band and what's a fake band? Now, a fake band is where you sit in a cold garage for 2 hours, then you just have the guitarist tell you about how great Australia is and how much better than Australia is from America, and how the guy on the Outback commercial is not have a real Australian accent, and Australia. I don't care about Australia. I want to be in a band. I joined a band to play music, not hear about Australia. So that is a fake band. Now a real band is where we actually play gigs and we actually occasionally go into a studio and record. So I've been doing that lately with bands. And the fourth reason is my relationships in real life. Now, since my collarbone is just so irresistible, the women just come pouncing on me, They just want me. Yeah, not really, no. That actually really doesn't happen. But I like to pretend it does. And then I also have friends who can drive vehicles and take me places. And we can do things that I'm not going to talk about on camera. So, anyway, now I'm going to explain, for all of those who are illiterate, what the purpose of this video is. I am going to be comparing two things. Now, some examples of things include these condoms, or this novel, which was written by Tom Clancy. But I'm not going to be comparing condoms and this novel that was written by Tom Clancy. And on this subject of things that have things in common, what does a desk and a raven have in common? I have no freaking clue. So anyway, the time has come to talk about other things, juice and chips and sealing wax and cabbages and kinks and why the sea's blowing hot and whether pigs have wings. So yeah, pretty much I'm going to be comparing Fallout 3, Game of the Year Edition, on Xbox 360, because Xbox 360 is better than PlayStation. And I am a huge fanboy. So I'm going to be comparing Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition and Oblivion Game of the Year Edition. So pretty much I'm just going to be comparing these two games, both made by Bethesda. Pretty much similar gameplay, but I'm going to get into just comparing them. So I'm going to be comparing these two games. I'm going to be saying why I think which one is better in certain areas and which one is the other. And ultimately, and then which one I think is better. Keep in mind that this is my opinion, not yours, and if you get pissed off by my opinion, then you're a feeble-minded idiot. Alright, so let's get to it. No, you cannot judge a book by its cover, but a pretty cover does help, which is why the first thing that we're going to be looking at in our Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition to Oblivion Game of the Year Edition is the outside. So, let's start out with Oblivion because it was released first, and I believe it was released in 2005 during the start of Xbox's release. It was originally rated T, then they complained to Microsoft and ESRB and got it rated M. I'm not sure why, but they did that. So, start out with, here's the outside. And also, here's the back. Now on the back, it shows what is included, and it's Oblivion, the original game, Knights of Nine, DLC, and the Shivering Isles expansion pack, or Shivering Isles. I like to call it Isles because it sounds like Isles. Then there are some pictures on the back of the gameplay, rating, stuff, blah blah blah. Here's the side. It says Oblivion. Yeah, it really does. It's backwards though, because this is a camera. Yeah. And here's the front. Okay, so if you have never had a Game of the Year Edition game like this is pretty much how it works. First, you put in Disc 2, and this installs all the additional downloadable content that came with the Game of the Year Edition. So pretty much you're going to put this in, it will walk you through the progress on how it's saving, then once you have saved everything, then you put in Disc 1 and you proceed to play the game, and then you'll have all the expansions downloaded. And then first in this is the manual. Now the manual is the exact same as the original Oblivion, and by original I just mean the one that was first released that was not Game of the Year. And also it has the same cover. Now first look at this compared to the old one, compared to the Game of the Year Edition. The original cover is much lighter compared to the Game of the Year Edition cover. Just an observation there. And here's my favorite part of the Oblivion Game of the Year Edition. This, my friends, is a map. It is a map of the Providence which the game takes place in, and the Shivering Isles. So, this is a pretty nice map. It's about the size of a poster. It looks really, really nice on your walls, but unfortunately I'm more of a collector, and I would rather have this sit in the case without poking holes in it rather than having it sit in a wall. So pretty much here's the map of the main Providence that it takes place in. It shows all the rivers, mountainous areas, the cities. And then over in the corner, it shows the Shivering Isles, a map of that. And personally, you aren't going to be looking at this map to go like direct you somewhere in the game since it has an in-game map. Also, you can fast travel with this. But this actually looks really good. Just it being something from the Elder Scrolls is awesome. So, with this though, it's good decoration. You aren't going to be actually looking at it. It looks really good on walls though, but I'm not putting it in my wall because I'm more of a collector. So that is pretty much everything I have to say concerning Oblivion Game of the Year Edition. Now, let's move on to Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition's cover. Now to first explain the differences between this and the original game. With this one, it pretty much shows his shoulders and the gun and the mask. Now as the original one goes, it just shows the front of the mask and that is it. So pretty much we have a more like zoomed out, I guess you could say, image on the Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition cover. And if you cannot tell, you probably can though, it is very shiny and holographic, and it is very pretty. That is because there is a case over the original game, or a sleeve or a slide, whatever you want to call it. But yes, it helps. And then look at this. You ready? You ready? Voila! Okay, so here we see a really nice picture of Dogmeat, which is a companion that you can get in the game, and Lone Wanderer. And then below, here is just some pictures of the game, some gameplay pictures. And then here's all the awards it won. Okay, so it won the Game of the Year Award, Game Developer's Choice Award, GameSpy's 08 Overall Game of the Year, IGN's Best of 2008, Yahoo's Best of 2008, and something else's Best of 2008. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks like that. It looks like a V. And then the back, it's just this. I believe it is similar to the original game. I borrowed the original game from a friend originally, but yeah, I pretty much had to return it to him, and I bought the Game of the Year edition. And outside of the sleeve, we have the regular one. Now with this cover, it's the same picture as the front, but it is not pretty holographic or shiny. Then we have the side, which is backwards because it's a camera. Then we have the back, which is the same as the holographic one, just not as, like, flat or papery, I guess. I don't know. Okay, this is a case. It's not shiny. This has a sleeve over it, like the elastic thing, so it is very shiny. Then in the front, we have download disc, game disc, and the Vault Dweller's Survival Guide, which is this also included in the original, same exact manual, and no map. So, overall, pretty much, the only thing that Fallout's got in Oblivion as far as looks go is a shiny case. But then again, the only thing Oblivion has over Fallout is the map. Which one do I like more? I have to go with the map in Oblivion. I just think it looks better, and it's more of like something that you can show off. I mean, yes, it's nice to have a shiny case, but it actually does get annoying having to slide it off every single time you play the game. And pretty much I like a map that I can just put on my wall and it will separate it, and it will decorate a large area rather than decorate a small area and just look pretty on my shelf. So round 1 has to go to Oblivion. Hello, it is round 2 in our Oblivion versus Fallout 3 comparison, and now we are going to look at storyline. Okay, first let's go with Oblivion. I have not played Oblivion in a while, so I'm gonna try to explain the storyline as best as I can. Well, pretty much it starts out like every other Elder Scrolls game. You are a prisoner. You are not exactly told why you're in prison, but you're a prisoner. So pretty much you make your character. And the way this starts is the king has had a dream where he knows he's gonna die. And he knows that all these creatures are gonna come out of these Oblivion gates. And if you want to know, pretty much Oblivion, it's just like a hellish world, and Oblivion gates are pretty much portals to that world. So through the gates, these evil creatures can come out of the gates and attack humans. So that's pretty much what an Oblivion gate is. And he sees these Oblivion gates opening, and he knows he's gonna die soon. So pretty much what he does is, in his vision, he saw this random prisoner, which is you. And he knows that you are gonna pretty much help out the whole Oblivion Gate problem and pretty much fix it. So what happens is he calls out your name, and they're evacuating him through the sewers. So pretty much he does end up dying. They gives you the Amulet of Kings. Pretty much what the Amulet of Kings is, it's the Emperor's necklace, which is passed down through the royal family. Only royalty can wear it. So pretty much what he does is he pretty much just gives you this amulet. Then he says, find my heir to my throne, and then you pretty much the whole goal is after that is to find the heir to the throne and then prepare to fight against Oblivion Gates and pretty much fix the problem. So that's the storyline for Oblivion. Now we are going to go talk about the storyline for Fallout 3. Pretty much the backstory to Fallout 3 is it takes place in the capital wasteland. Now why is the capital, Washington DC of the United States, a wasteland? Well, pretty much as the story goes in the game, America got into a nuclear war with China. So pretty much they nuked the hell out of everything, and the only people that survived that were these people called Vault Dwellers, who lived in vaults, which are pretty much just housing facilities underground. So pretty much what happened is they lived in the vaults, and once the war was over, they came out and they're trying to relive on the land. Now pretty much, you've lived in a vault all your life. Then one day, your dad, he just leaves the vault. And this hasn't been done before. No one's really left the vault that you're in. So pretty much what you do is you leave the vault, trying to find your father and what his whole goal was. Well, pretty much when you find him, you find out that he's doing this thing called Project Purity. And pretty much in the game, what's happened is pretty much all the water in the world has radiation. And pretty much what I've learned from my limited time that I actually paid attention in chemistry class, passed semester 1, failed semester 2. But anyway, what happened is there's this thing called radiation. And if you get too much radiation building up in you, you die. So yeah, pretty much whenever someone would drink water, they would get a little bit of radiation, which would eventually lead to their death. And pretty much the whole goal is that you want to go purify the water and take out the rads so that people can just drink fresh water and not get sick. So pretty much as far as storyline goes too, I know I have to give it to Fallout. Like Oblivion, it really does have a great and original storyline. Just the whole medieval fantasy thing, it's been seen before. Like going to hell pretty much in medieval times, Dante's Inferno, old poem. It's been seen before. But really, I haven't heard anything about trying to cure waters of radiation. So pretty much, this one has to go to Fallout 3. Something that is very important to games and pretty much separates games into different genres is the gameplay of the game. So now I'll pretty much go into gameplay. Well, since they have similar gameplay, I'll just compare them together right now. Okay. When using weapons, like objects, such as swords, or maces, or axes, or shields, it has, pretty much what you do is you use your right trigger to block, swing with what's in your right hand, then use your left trigger to use your shield. So pretty much, in both these games, this one does not have shields, but using blunt objects is pretty much the same. It's a bit more polished on Oblivion just because they expect you to use swords more, while in Fallout it's more leaning towards guns. And what they did is they incorporated this really cool thing called VATS, or Vault Assisted Tactical Shooting. So pretty much what it does is you go into vaults and you select areas of the body that you want to focus your shots on. Like let's say you want to focus shots on the head, or if they're farther away you want to focus shots on the body since it'd be harder to get a headshot. And then it just plays through a scene for you and then it shoots. And this is really good because ammo in this game can be pretty hard to find. And you don't want to be down on ammo, so VATS really helps you conserve your ammo and hit your enemies where they want to be hit. Then with Oblivion, you have spells, or magic. And magic is cool because you can summon undead things to kill things, shoot things with fire, shoot lightning, shoot lasers out of your eyes. Not really, but I wish you could. Because that'd be pretty cool if you could shoot lasers out of your eyes in Oblivion. There's an idea for Skyrim, Bethesda. Take it or leave it. And then pretty much you can both go into third person, however I prefer first person. Something I liked about Fallout that Oblivion didn't have though was companions. Pretty much people who can help you fight. In Oblivion, like, you have this one idiot who helps you fight, like, in certain quests, but all he does is he runs in and he's like, "For the Emperor!" Then he gets, like, hit once across the face, and he's just, well, pretty much, if he's unimportant, he dies. If he is important, he faints. So pretty much that's as far as companions go. In Oblivion, you don't really have companions. In this, you actually have them. They can carry items for you, and then they help you fight, obviously. And also you can select how they're gonna fight. Like, my favorite companion personally is this fox. He's a super mutant. So pretty much he's this big giant buff guy who's been, like, mutated from radiation. But pretty much what you can do with him is you can give him like a sledgehammer and be like, "Hey, run up and go hit these guys, like, up close and fight." Or you can give him a rifle and say, "Hey, I'll go up and pretty much take the hits up front. Could you stay back and snipe for me?" So pretty much you have companions and you can choose how they fight and how they help you. In Oblivion, you have retards who scream for the Emperor and die. So yeah, that's what I liked about the gameplay in this game. So this game focuses more on guns, this focuses more on swords. Bats, spells. And they both can go to third person. They both run on the same engine. Pretty much this game is a bit prettier, but it's newer, so I'm not really going to give it that. Like, what I really hate is someone looks at an old game, like, they'll look at Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and be like, the graphics on this suck! Grand Theft Auto 4 is so much better. Not necessarily. You need to look at the gameplay and how the game plays out. Graphics aren't everything in a game. Gameplay and story pretty much are. Like, on old games, like the reason people look at Ocarina of Time as such a great game is because it had gameplay and story. Like, pretty much, like, the graphics, they were good at the time. And, like, they still look good today. They aren't nothing compared to today's graphics. Like, you look at Gears of War, Legend of Zelda is nothing compared to it. But Legend of Zelda just had, like, all the things that make up a good game. Like, it had characters that you actually like. It had a good storyline that motivated you, and you wanted to see what was happening next. And then it had good puzzles that tricked your mind, and it just had such a great, it just had all the things that make a good game. That's why people believe that is the best thing of all. Like, the best game ever. So graphics aren't everything to me. Fallout 3 does have better graphics, but it's old, but it's 3 years newer, so what do you expect? And then, so pretty much you both can go into third person. Oblivion, like, Fallout has guns, Oblivion has bows. Like bows, you pull it back and shoot, also staffs, different stuff. As far as weapons go, they both go pretty diverse. This has chainsaws, this has staffs. This has man-eaters and other cool stuff. This has spells and, like, swords, clubs, maces, axes, all of that. Pretty much overall in gameplay, I just need to give it to Fallout Y companions. That's all there really is to say. That's the only reason it's better. It has companions. And then also one more thing to talk about as far as, like, gameplay or playing the game goes. I found out that Fallout 3 was much more linear compared to Oblivion. Like, with Oblivion, it's just a giant open world. You can get places multiple ways. Like, it's just open worlded. With Fallout 3, like, if you're traveling through Washington, D.C., it is extremely linear. You're gonna go in through here, come out through here. If you want to go through Washington, D.C., or if you want to get to somewhere in Washington, D.C., it's on a set path. There's not really different routes you can take. Pretty much you're gonna go down this line, fight these people in this row, then go. Pretty much, it's just a set path for you. So as far as gameplay goes, I'm gonna have to give it to Fallout. And now we are going to go talk about the things in the game. Like items, not really gameplay, but items. We already talked about weapons pretty much. But now we are going to talk about armor. In Fallout 3, I hate to say it, but the armor, it gets pretty old. Like, you just have leather and metal armor, then you're going to unlock the ability to wear power armor, then you're going to wear nothing but power armor, because nothing beats power armor in the game. So pretty much in Fallout 3, you're just going to go unlock power armor, then you're just going to wear it. And that's it. You're just going to be wearing it the entire time. I mean, with the expansion packs, there is some cool clothes you can get. And, like, there's certain outfits that you can get that look cool. But ultimately, when it comes to armor, Oblivion's much better. Like, the armor looks different, it looks cool, there's different types of armor. And they have their ups and downs. Like, and also you have the ability to choose what type of armor you're going to want to wear, depending on your combat. If you're a warrior and you're going to go in with, like, a club and hit everything, you're obviously going to use heavy armor. If you're a mage or a ranger, you're going to go use light armor, obviously, so you can move around more and cast spells instead of getting hit and tanking it like you would with a warrior. Now with the Fallout, pretty much the only way that you're going to really be playing is with guns. So pretty much you're just going to go wear power armor to tank everything. And there isn't a lot of decisions other than power armor. There's, like, leather armor and stuff that's fairly going to protect you. So you're going to stick with power armor in Fallout 3. And then also, as far as transportation goes, they both have fast travel. But if you want to get somewhere in Fallout, you're walking. Oblivion, we got horses, okay? So we can get around faster with horses in Oblivion. So as far as in-game items go, I'm going to have to give it to Oblivion. And you're probably wondering, or you might be wondering, I don't know who you are, but pretty much you might be wondering, well, really, why would you buy the Game of the Year edition of a game? Like, what's the advantage to that besides just a pretty cover and it being released? The answer to that is downloadable content or expansions. So pretty much, on this game, by buying this, you're saving $40 in expansions because the shipping aisles, that is $30 just for that. And then the Knights of 9, that's $10 for that. So you're saving $40 by buying this. Then on this there are 5 DLCs, each of which are $10, therefore you're saving $50 by buying this. So, what are we talking about? DLC. Let's start with Oblivion. The first is the Knights of 9, and pretty much this is just a $10 download, and you're going to beat it in about the same time that it would take you to beat one of the 5 downloads for Fallout 3. So pretty much with this, it's just... yeah, a fallen knight has been unchained from the darkness of Oblivion to seek vengeance upon the gods who banished him. Only a champion pure of heart can vanquish the evil that has been released upon the land. Pretty much what this is, it just takes place in the main continent. It's just a little thing that you play through where pretty much you just need to go to these pilgrimages to certain sites, and then the gods talk to you or something, and then they tell you that you need to go, pretty much kill this evil knight or something. You're just gonna go... you're pretty much just gonna do a couple fetch quests, and then just recover certain items and just go fight through some things. Shipping Isles, though, it's not DLC, it is an expansion. What do I mean by expansion? It opens up a new world, which is probably at least a third the size of the continent that the original game takes place on. And this is the Madness Islands, or the Shivering Isles. And pretty much, I love the character that's put into us. There's the King of Mad, which is pretty much this crazy, kooky guy. He's mad, obviously, so he's crazy. But his craziness just makes everything interesting. And pretty much it's divided into 2 regions, which are... God, I forgot. I really forgot what to say on here. Yes, Mania and Dementia. And pretty much Mania, it's like crazy, it's like acid trippy, Alice in Wonderland stuff, like giant mushrooms, everything's gold. While Dementia is pretty much just like a depressing, low-down place. Like pretty much a depressing place, everything is gray, there's just like rain in the streets, everything's dirty, there's like homeless people and beggars living there. So pretty much, with that, there's this new island. Now there's a main quest that goes through it, and the main quest, it is pretty lengthy actually. It will take you a few hours to go through. And then also once you complete that, since it's an expansion, there's also side quests that you're going to be able to do as well once you complete that. So that's always a nice bonus. So now let's go on and go break down the DLC for Fallout 3. The first one is Operation Anchorage. This is just a one-time thing that you're going to go through, just like a one-time quest line, similar to Knights of 9. Where pretty much you just go through, you play through like this futuristic war thing. It sort of reminds me of Call of Duty a little bit. You're just going to go fight through this war, and pretty much Operation Anchorage, which was a fight in the war that led to the nukes being set off. You pretty much just play through that. You get some pretty nice armor at the end, I will admit that. Then there's the pit. Now pretty much the pit is where you travel to Pittsburgh. And then you're pretty much in Pittsburgh. There's a bunch of slaves. It's turned into a slave central. And pretty much there you're just going to go work in slavery and then figure out some different stuff. And eventually just see whose side you're on in the pit. And then eventually free the slaves. And with the pit, something I noticed is I actually, if you want to get an achievement, I'm an achievement whore and some pretty nice armor, you need to collect these things called gold ingots. And I actually spent more time collecting the gold ingots than I did actually playing, like, through the pit. Like, the pit, once I actually played it, went through pretty quickly. It only took me so long because I took literally, like, 3 or 4 hours trying to find all these gold ingots. I did it, though, and I will admit I'm an achievement whore, and that's the only reason I did it. Achievement hacking, you're a pussy if you do it and you're a retard. Don't achievement hack, you're a pussy if you achievement hack. And then Broken Steel. Now pretty much, I'm not going to give anything away, but Fallout 3, it sort of ends like... it ends on a note similar to Star Wars where like, okay, taking down their main base, but the Force still exists. like the Empire still exists, but you've taken down their main base, so they're pretty hopeless. Now in this, it's similar to that. That's how Fallout 3 ended. So pretty much in this, you're pretty much just taking down their remaining forces and pretty much just making sure they're gone for good. So that's how Broken Steel plays out. Now Point Lookout. Pretty much you're gonna go to Point Lookout Park, which I believe is in Louisiana. It's more of a swampy area. Then you're just gonna go figure out what's happening with these schools. I actually really like this part because in this game, like in this part, you do drugs in it, and pretty much you're hallucinating like a lot. So you're walking in the sky and like you look up and there's like the floor that you would originally be walking on, and there's just this crazy stuff, and it was just very trippy, sort of creepy though. So pretty much you just head to this swampy area, and then you're gonna go find this guy and figure out that he's having some trouble with certain tribes, and pretty much you're gonna fix that up. And then the mothership's data. This is pretty much where you go to this certain area, right, that you think is pretty suspicious, and you end up getting abducted by aliens. And then when you're on the ship, pretty much you're gonna go meet different people who have also been abducted from different time periods. Like you'll find a samurai and a cowboy and like a soldier during the war and different people. So pretty much you're just gonna go clear that up and then just fight off the aliens and probably pretty much just see what they're doing and try to get back to home. So that's what you're doing in the mothership's data. So all in all together, this costs $50 for all the expansions. This costs $40. Pretty much they have equal length in expansions. This has more, but this has more expansions, but not as much. It has more quantity than it does quality. Like if you put together, you're going to be spending the same amount of time on the expansions. So pretty much I just can't really give it to one. Like, I guess it's equal in this one. So it comes to a draw or a tie when it comes to DLC. I started working on this video on 10 and oh god, it's 12:05 and I have school tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. Try to finish it up.